Oklahoma reserves. The gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Well, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate the comments from my good friend from Oklahoma, who he knows I have great affection for him, but I'm dizzy from all the spin, quite frankly. First let me just say about the CR. What we know is that what may or may not pass in the House, based on the fact that the Freedom Caucus seems to be calling the shots, will never pass the Senate. So we know whatever is going to come out of the Rules Committee in the next 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever, if anything, will ever be able to get the votes, not just amongst Democrats, but amongst Republicans in the Senate. Secondly, we do know that the Senate is working in a bipartisan way. They already have cloture to move forward with the process to bring up a CR, an overwhelmingly bipartisan vote. But we know what they pass would pass this House if put on the floor. And the reason why this government will in all likelihood shut down is because the Speaker of the House is so beholden to a small group of the most extreme members that he won't put that on the floor. He will rig it so that we do not have a chance to be able to vote on it. That's how this government will shut down. Secondly, my good friend talks about how this is really no big deal. It's just another vote, and everybody should be happy. But let me ask, if this were good for Ukraine and Ukraine's ability to defend itself against Russia's illegal war, then why would members of the pro-Putin caucus even agree to this? If everyone genuinely thought there was no difference between keeping the funding in the defense bill and moving it separately, why insist on all of this? The answer is really simple. Republicans who seem to be enamored with Putin want this funding sent separately to the Senate because they know that's their best shot to prevent this money from going to Ukraine at all. In fact, when Marjorie Taylor Greene left the Republican conference meeting this morning, and I quoted it already, but I'll quote it again, she said, "We're not funding Ukraine, period." That's what I heard in there, end quote. And we all know that there are senators like Rand Paul, and Tommy Tuberville, who will block a separate Ukraine funding bill from moving forward. I mean, they're actively preventing the Senate from completing its work as we speak. This is not a flaw in the sidecar plan. It's a main feature and a goal. So let's be clear. This funding that we're talking about here is long-standing security assistance. It has been in the defense bill for years, even before Putin invaded Ukraine. This is not the supplemental funding that President Zelensky requested when he met with Speaker McCarthy last week. This is not the supplemental funding the administration requested in their emergency funding request, and it is not the supplemental funding that the Senate is trying to put in their bipartisan CR. So spare me the argument that somehow this is a good thing and it gives everybody a chance for their voice to be heard on this topic. If everybody wanted their voice to be heard on this topic, you would have speaker after speaker after speaker right now speaking on this bill and speaking about their concerns about our Ukraine policy. There's no one over there. Let's all be real here about what's happening. And the House already had its voice heard, and it overwhelmingly voted to support funding in the defense bill, a 3/4 majority. You can't get that many people to agree on lunch in this place. And it's a majority of your majority. The pro-Putin extremists didn't like the outcome, so they talked to the Speaker into rigging the vote. That is what this is all about. And Mr. Speaker, so I am here to offer the House the opportunity to demonstrate for a third time that we stand by Ukraine in their time of need. And I urge that we defeat the previous question. And if we do, I will offer an amendment that would strike the provision of the rule eliminating security assistance funding for Ukraine. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to insert the text of my amendment into the record along with any extraneous material immediately prior to the vote on the previous question.